Right, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to another episode of Kev's Wild Kitchen. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of cooking in the garden, and today we're going to be doing some goat curry. Going to try and make it as authentic Jamaican as I can. It's going to be goat curry with some coconut rice, and then I'm going to be making more flatbreads, but I'm going to be making Jamaican rotis. So, going to get my little boy Logan to do some wood chopping for me. I've got a bad back, getting old, and then we'll get the fire going and we'll crack on. So stay tuned. So here he is, Logan. Been looking forward to chopping the wood today, haven't you? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, crack on. Good boy, well done. So we'll get this all chopped up, and then we'll get the fire made. In the meantime, so I apologise for the noise in the background, but that's Logan chopping the wood. So here's most of our ingredients. So we've got our 2.5 pounds roughly of good goat. I've kept some of the bones in as well. We're going to be washing that in a minute in some water and distilled vinegar. I've been reading about it can leave a slight odour, so you wash it first in that. So I'm going to give that a go. We've got some curry powder. Now I couldn't get Jamaican curry powder, so I've gone with Madras. Our fresh ingredients. Some scotch bonnets, spring onions, bell pepper. There will be potato as well. Some thyme, fresh thyme I've gone for. I know you can use dried, bit of garlic. Then our herbs and spices, so our Caribbean jerk seasoning, ground allspice, which are pimento, ground berries, and I've gone for everyday seasoning as well, just to add a little bit extra. Some oil, sunflower oil I've gone for, and our coconut milk. So let's get washing the goat. So you can see this, okay? So this is our goat, as I say. Now, all I'm going to be doing is just washing it in a little bit of distilled vinegar. It's probably what, two tablespoons I'm going in with. Okay, and I'm just going to top that up with some clean fresh water. Just more or less cover it. Now, as I say, this is, I think, has been washed already out the butcher's, but just going to try and keep it as authentic as I can. And I'm literally just going to wash any little bits off. I think with this, it takes all the little bits of, little bits of bone fragments and anything. I mean, you can see the water in there, a little bit dirty, so obviously it's doing the job. So I'll get this drained off, and then we'll get on with the dry ingredients. Okay, so we're ready to go. So all I've done is patted this down with a little bit of kitchen towel. So we're going to go in with a really good season. Nice bit of salt. Now this is our everyday seasoning. I'm going to go in there with probably a nice tablespoon of that. Okay, jerk seasoning. Now I've gone for Cape herb and spice, Caribbean jerk. Okay, again a nice amount, maybe two tablespoons of that. Okay, our ground allspice, which is the pimento berries dried. Good teaspoon of that, maybe slightly more. And now curry powder. Now because I didn't go for Jamaican, I've gone for Madras, because again just a little bit of spice to this. Maybe a good tablespoon. I will one day get them right. Now just going to give this a really good mix up. Can obviously use a spoon, but don't mind using my hands. And then all we're going to do with this then, when it's had a good marinade, is this going to be covered in a little bit of cling film and just put somewhere nice and cool, cold for a couple of hours. At least an hour though it needs to be. I mean ideally overnight, but the longer you leave it, the more the flavours permeate into the meat. And what we should have is a nice chunk of goat, all nicely covered. So I'm going to give that 2 hours now in the fridge because I'm at home, and then we will get the fire going. Lovely. Logan wants to light the fire today, so strike away. Good lad. So let's get this burning away, and let's stay warm. It's freezing. So while Logan's still chopping wood, I'll get myself a quick beer. Fire's taking a bit nice. That'll be a while. So it's still got an hour to go roughly before I put the curry on. Stuff this, and then I'll get on with the flatbreads, so they can start making the dough. Let them rest for a couple of hours. Yeah, go from there. So I'm just about to get on with the roti recipe. So what we have in here is 2 cups of flour, plain flour. We've got water, coconut milk, salt, and a little bit of oil. So all we're going to do first is add in half a teaspoon of our salt. Just give that a good mix up. Okay, just to make sure it's really well combined. Then all we're going to do is just add a little well in the middle. Okay, now we've got a quarter of the coconut milk here. Okay, so what we're going to do is add this. Okay, we're going to go in with the same amount of water, so a quarter basically. Okay, and then what we're going to do is give this a good mix up. Get it all combined, basically making a dough. Very, very straightforward. We also need to go in there with a little bit of oil. So again, 1 teaspoon, 1.5. Okay. Again, let's give all this a mix up, make a nice dough, and then we get kneading. Stay with me. So we've got our Dutch oven now on the fire, and what we have to do now is go in with quite a big bit of oil. Quite a bit. You almost want to sort of shallow fry our curry powder. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go in with about 2 tablespoons of the madras powder. I think this is where the Jamaicans call it burning the curry, but obviously you don't want it to burn. Okay, I'm going to give that a good stir around, just to get that curry powder to start toasting away. And giving us our base for our curry. Okay, now we'll get that warm through. What I'm also going to go in now is go in with the red onion and 2 cloves of chopped garlic. Fairly finely sliced. I'm going to go lid on for probably around 5 minutes. Let them soften up. Our dough is done. So that's been kneaded for about 5 minutes, all combined. Now I'm going to put that aside for around about an hour and just let that prove per se. Obviously there's no yeast in it. I'm just going to let it rest for a bit. Onion and garlic and curry paste, curry powder, sorry, is bubbling away nicely. So let's get ready to add the goat. Now, so our goat had about 2 hours roughly. All our goat in. It may seem odd that we're not adding any liquid yet, but this all needs to coat in all the oil. Get the right glove on. Good stir. Let that goat soak up all that oil. Now what I'm going to do now is let the fire sort of die down just a little bit, just to start producing its own juice from the steam. When the lid goes back on, lid back on, we should get some steam generating to just give us a little bit of juice, and then we can top it up with water. Okay, so we've been on there for about 5 minutes now, just getting a nice bit of steam going, just generating a little bit of juice at the bottom. Everything is sort of nicely cooked off now, so what I'm going to do is just top this up with water, literally just so it comes up to the top of the meat. Plenty. Give it a good stir. The colour of that is beautiful. Okay, now we can put the lid back on and literally cook it until it's tender. Keep checking it, obviously, checking for the tenderness. I'm suggesting about 2 hours. Towards the end then, about an hour towards the end, I'll put some potato in, some fresh stuff. But join me for that in a minute. Just because I'm cheating a bit, it's the wife. Cast iron tortilla press. Oh, she's pressing out the breads for us. How good do they look? They look awesome. Well done, babe. So, curry's coming along great. So what I'm going to do now is just take some spring onion. Can be cut fairly thickly. Again, just to add a little bit of freshness to the curry. And do is grab them, stick them in there. Okay. So this is our fresh ingredients. What we're going to do as well is add some nice bit of potato. We're going to chop that up as well. I'm just going to kind of dice these a bit. Just add a little bit of bite to our curry. And a little bit of thickness as well, if we need it. So the curry's been on there for about an hour now. I'm going to check it in a minute. I want these, obviously, you don't want to do them too, so they're too soft. So I'm just going to leave them bits, add them to that as well. Okay. And again, with the pepper, all I'm going to do with the pepper, chop down each side. And again, you don't need to add all this, it's going to be fairly chunky. Probably off camera, I'll trim this down a little bit more. Just to add us that bit of bite to it. And obviously our Scotch bonnet's going whole. So let's give it a stir. See if it's time to add some fresh ingredients. Let's see how we're getting on. Oh, it's bubbling away a treat. God, that's looking great. I think we can. That meat's pulling away from the bone. Lovely. So what I think we do now, go in with our fresh ingredients. Our potatoes, spring onions, peppers. We're going to go in with our Scotch bonnet. I've got 2 there, but I think I'm just going to chance 1. Okay, now obviously I need this to thicken up a little bit, but that'll be towards the end. The potato, if any of it breaks down anyway, we'll do that. I'm going to get some thyme cut and put that in. As discussed, we just put our fresh thyme in there. You see, so we got a nice bit of fresh thyme, potato, peppers, obviously the Scotch bonnet. Smells incredible. So we're going to give that another hour. Sort of roughly say check on it every now and again. A little bit of fresh wood on there. And then, yeah, let's get it bubbling away. In the last sort of 10-15 minutes, I'll take the lid off and we'll let it just thicken up a little bit and go from there. So, been on there for about an hour and a half now. I'm just going to have a quick check how we're getting on. They're smelling fantastic. See, lots of flavour in there. So I'm going to make the decision to give it another hour, and then build this fire up a little bit, get it a bit bubbly, and then we'll go from there. Okay, let's see how we're getting on. So, because I think we're nearly done. So, yeah, I'm very happy with that. Everything is looking fairly soft. What I'm going to do now is leave the lid off for about 10 minutes or so. Get that bubbling away. And then when that's done, I am going to take that off, let that stay warm in the cast iron, and get on with the rice and the bread, of course. Now that's bubbling away, my last ingredient is a little bit of coconut milk. Okay, just to add a little bit of creaminess to it. So I'm just going to give that a stir, just with the coconut milk in. Again, just to add a little bit of unctuousness, as they say. I'm going to leave that lid off now for a good half an hour. Let that boil away, thicken up quite a lot, and then we should be ready to go. And then that's going to come off, and then we're going to crack on with the flatbreads and the rice. Okay, so I think we're pretty much there with our curry. I don't know if you can see that. It's nicely thickened. I'm very happy with that. The sauce tastes incredible. So now what I'm going to do, take that off, keep that warm, and then we can get on with our rice and our bread. Okay, so now the curry's off, the cast iron pan's on for our breads. So what I'm going to do is toast the breads first, and then I can keep them warm while I do the rice. So I'm going to get some oil on this now and get it warm. Okay, so I'm going to do, put a nice little bit of oil on there. Okay, let's give that a rub up. I mean, this is really well seasoned now, this pan. So I'd sort of say around about half a teaspoon, you know, pear bread is probably okay. Now these have been cut to around, I'd say quarter inch. Okay, I'm going to leave these for about a couple of minutes, pear bread, and then to be honest, until they're cooked, until they're nicely sort of toasted on the outside. It's hopefully going to be nice and soft in the middle. It's going to be beautiful. Stay with me. Okay, let's give them a turn, right? Okay. To me, they look absolutely perfect. I'm going to zoom in. They look great. And a couple of minutes on the other side then, and then we'll be ready to take them off, keep them warm, get the rice going. So our breads are now warming, all looking unbelievable, to be honest, to me. So now I'm going to go on with the big cast iron pot. Okay, so we're going to go on with that, ready for our rice. Let that warm up a couple of minutes, and then we're ready to go. Okay, so now we're all warmed up with our pan. So what we're going to do is go in with a nice bit of oil. Okay, so this is our coconut rice. Okay, and what we're going to do is go in, we're going to use desiccated coconut, and we're going to go in with about two tablespoons, roughly, maybe a little bit more. Okay, a nice amount basically. Okay, now what we're going to do is get that all nice and coated in the oil and get that given off its flavour. Okay, get it nice and toasted. You can see it's giving off its colour, just starting to toast away, just to get a nice bit of colour. So obviously I don't want it to burn. Now what we're going to do is go in with a nice teaspoon of turmeric. Okay, and again, just to give us that nice bit of colour, bit of curry flavour. You get that sort of nice texture going through the curry. Now, as soon as we're ready with that, we're going to go in now with our rice. Now, our rice is obviously already cooked. So this is day-old rice. Been chilled. So what I'm using is microwavable rice. So it's already been cooked, chilled yesterday, in fact. And here I've got three bags worth. And it's just with that turmeric, I love the colour it gives. And obviously because it's already cooked, it should be very, very quick. And all we're literally doing is warming it through. So we get that toasted coconut flavour, a little bit of turmeric for colour, which almost gives like a curry taste, I think. Make sure it's all coloured and nicely warmed through, and then we're ready to serve. So it's all out. So Cole's going to serve herself up a bowl.
Amazing.
My daughter may have a bit, but she's not here, as kids are. Curry, I tell you what, smells incredible. It really, really does. Now, if we weren't on camera, Cole would have lots of mango chutney and lots of sour cream because it'd be too hot. So I'm going to serve myself up a bowl, and then let's have a taste. Okay, so let's have a go. You see us?
Oh, it's lovely.
It's got a bit of spice to it.
Yeah, tastes brilliant. Very spicy, but
That bread
quite
is
a pleasant
great.
bit.
Right, let's have a go with the goat. Mm. I tell you what, better than any takeaway curry. Yeah,
Mm.
really is actually, truthfully.
It's a lovely
It's like that
texture to it.
spice is there, and then all of a sudden it goes. You know, it's not. It's great, fantastic. I really like that coconut rice. I've done that a few times, to be honest, and it's. I know coconut rice. You know, people want you to boil it with coconut milk and things, but on a campfire, it comes out mushy and not very nice. You know what I mean? It's really hard to cook. But if you pre-book it and then you go camping, you know, take pre-cooked rice with you, just a little bit desiccated coconut makes all the difference. And the turmeric, especially when you have it with curry, it's great. Yeah, really
Mhm.
nice. Yeah, really beautiful. So I'd
Thumbs
just
up
like
from
to
me.
say thank you very much for joining us again. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.